first book that I'm going to be reviewing, or giving you my short, opinion on, is The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. From the back cover, it says, "Far from fading with time, Kenneth Grahame's classic tale of fantasy has attracted a growing audience in each generation. Rat, mole, badger, and the preposterous Mr. Toad, with his poop 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 road-hogging new motor car, have brought a delight to many through the years with their odd adventures on and by the river and at the imposing residence of Toad Hall." So from that, or at least hopefully from that, you got that there are basically four main characters: Rat, Mole, Badger, and Mr. Toad. Right off the bat, I really liked Mole. He's very a little more naive, if you say, for the rest of them, so anything that he does ends up being a great adventure, even if it's just getting in a boat and going down a river. And Rat is a water rat, and he likes to take Mole on all these adventures, which is really cute. And for certain, basically it kind of switches each chapter on whether it's talking about Rat or Mole or Mr. Toad, who comes up a little bit later on, as well as Badger, who isn't such a large character, but is still a very strong character, I guess. But Mr. Toad is, I think, the character I liked least of all, and seemed to appear the most in the entire book. He's very self-righteous, I guess, or self-centered and just kind of egotistical, and just likes everything about himself and doesn't really think about anyone else, even when all his friends are trying to help him. And even though he seems to want to always say the right things at the right time, they seem very insincere in the most part. So I just didn't like that character overall, and because of his overall presence in this book being so heavy, I gave this book, I believe, a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads, because even though it was very thin in general, it seemed to take me a long time to read, just because I guess I wasn't as interested in it. It is all about a bunch of animals that can talk, and one thing that really threw me for a loop, I guess, is the scale of everything. So in one of the scenes, Mr. Toad basically dresses up as a washerwoman, and is able, or is recognized as this washerwoman as he goes around. And also, at another time, he steals a car from a group of people in a restaurant, and that's what really kind of, not confused me, but just I had to keep bringing it up that they are apparently the same size. Because in any world that I've lived in, frogs or toads or rats are all a lot smaller than people. But apparently, in this world that Kenneth Grahame created, they're all the same size, which kind of threw me off and made it hard for me to imagine what was going on, I think. So that's why I wasn't as much of a fan of this book, even though apparently it is a classic and many people have read it in class. in school at some point. I never did, but at least I gave it a try.